Greetings and blessings to my moon cycling lunatics out there. How are you? Thank you for watching. This is Gina with another episode of Bloody Secrets, number 5. Here we go. The word today is virgin. The current definition of virgin is someone who is pure, untouched, right? Doing something for the very first time. That's, what it is now. But what it used to be, the original meaning of virgin, is a woman of her own sovereignty, a woman independent of a man, not needing a man, self-reliant, and her own individual. And we can actually trace back to time, to see that the sovereignty shifted, right? We know that now, and we're still clawing our way back. But in the past, there was an understanding in the community, and the women had a very large role. The women were the wisdom council. They were the teachers of sensual and sexual practices. They were the gardeners. They were the deliverers of health and birth and death. There were a lot of ceremonial purposes taking place in the community by the women, kind of like in Bali. In Bali, the women spend about 50% of their day making offerings to the gods, right? So if you can imagine being back then very wise with plants, very wise with the psyche and the spirit and matter, and also having the blood and the moon. See, when you garden, you need to watch the moon. There are certain times to plant, certain times to harvest, and then you coordinate that with the blood, and you see where the fertility starts to pop up, right? You have fertility and giving birth and watching life pass on and everything in between. So there was a lot of knowledge that the women were holding at one point. And the priestesses that ran the temples that had the sensual practices, the temples, they would go down, the doorway would go into a dark tunnel, like the womb, right? So, because it's where it's most dark is where you really learn about yourself, right? So we had these teachings by the women's, the initiations, and they would initiate the women, and then the women would initiate the men. So we were able to achieve very high and altered states through the practices of sex and dance and breath and sound. And this was community participation, something that women were coordinating at one point. And what happened was, or at least how the myth is going at the moment, was that the men took over the priest position, and they also started to wear these red robes, the red robes that the women wore, because the red, of course, for the blood, same as the garden, fertility. Are you getting it? Is it coming all together now? So the men took it, and they started charging for the sexual practices. My friends, the original pimps are the priests. How's that for a bloody secret? So these original practices that were very primal, they were also very multidimensional, and we still have access to those. We just have to know how to be able to reach them. And through the blood, through this portal, we can really start to tap in. But there's more. There has to be, first we have to know that we have unlimited entryways. We can gain access through the formless. We can gain access through the form. We can do a lot of things to really enhance not only our mindset, but the strength in our physical body, the strength in our own self-sovereignty, right? Sounds good. No? So what I'm thinking here is having the intention of actively seeking wellness, actively seeking wholeness, actively seeking balance, actively improving the wizard status. Yes? Yes. Okay. So here's what I really want to tell you. In the Japanese medicine thought, in their way of thinking, there are three brains in the body. Yeah? In Western medicine, we think of one brain, but I'm talking about brain like a complex of nerves, a huge conglomeration of connections in one area. Yeah? So there are three of those junctures. One, of course, is this brain. This is the thinking brain. Okay? And then we have another plexus of nerves here, which is the feeling brain. Yes? And then we have another bunch of nerves in the solar plexus, right? And this is the intuitive brain. So you have these three huge neural plexuses that are taking in this amazing information on all different levels. And sometimes when we hear sounds or we feel things that are coming from the outside, we say, oh, I felt that, because there's no words for it. You say, oh, I saw that, but it's not really easy to describe. Or say, oh, yeah, I heard that. It just came through. It's like a wind, right? Like a whisper coming from the wind. So if we think of ourselves as more than just our physical body, that we have this container of energy that we're holding, and they all feel, they all sense, and they all emit. Okay? So when we do some new practices and start to increase the integrity of the nervous system and increase the ability for connectiveness, it's called plasticity. The idea that the nervous system is a moldable thing, right? We think of our bodies as degenerating, but it's not really that way. It's 300 billion cells is your body, and it's moving from here to there and here to there, and at the same time is regenerating and degenerating at the same time. And there's practices that we can do to keep that regeneration happening. And when we kind of hone them in towards the moon cycle and towards the moon, towards the earth, learning from the elements, learning about ourselves, we are going to find that we have more confidence because our body is healthier, it's strong, and it's self-loving, and we can handle more energy. This is the key, handling more energy. We will get into that in the future videos, but please keep watching. And if you have questions or if you have comments, please leave them. I'll leave my email at the end and you can write me. And if you want to talk about anything or if you have any questions, I'm happy to do future videos about the things you want to talk about. So blessings to you, and yeah, keep playing, keep blessing, keep offering, keep showing yourself, and keep meeting all the best parts of yourself. Yes.